You have been loved all your life, and you still do not know you are admired. Sit with that for a moment, before the next thing, before the phone, before the thought that just tried to interrupt what I am about to tell you. Let that sentence find a chair in your chest and sit down. I admire the heart you carry. Not just love, admire. There is a difference, and it matters. Love is the baseline of who I am toward you. Admiration is what I add on top of it when I watch how you have walked. Most of my children have learned to receive a thin, polite kind of love from me. A love that feels like duty. That is not the love I have for you. The love I have for you has weight. It has delight in it. It has the kind of look a father gives his child when the child does not know the father is watching, and the father is quietly proud of something small the child just did. That is the look that is on my face right now. That is the look that has been on my face for a long time. I admire the heart you carry. Say it under your breath. You do not have to believe it yet. You only have to let me say it while you listen. That is all. Listen. I know what the world has taught you to expect from me. It taught you I tolerate you. It taught you I put up with you. It taught you I forgive you on my good days and keep a record on my bad days. It taught you that my love was something you had to earn, and once earned, something you had to keep earning. All of that was a rumor. All of that was bad theology, dressed up in religious clothes. And it has made you tired. You have been trying to impress a father who was never asking you to impress him. You have been trying to stay in good standing with a father who never moved you out of standing in the first place. Put that burden down. Put it down. It is not yours. Let me tell you what I actually see when I look at you. I see a heart that has been softer than it had the right to be, given what it has been through, given what it has absorbed, given the hands that handled it when it was younger and did not know how to defend itself. That heart should be harder. That heart should have built more walls. That heart should have stopped opening a long time ago, and yet you still open. You still try. You still reach. You still love people who have not yet proven they are safe to love. That is not naivety. That is courage, and I admire it. I see a heart that has chosen kindness in rooms where no one would have blamed you for being cold. I see a heart that has forgiven people who did not ask to be forgiven, because the alternative was to carry a stone that was too heavy for the road ahead. I see a heart that has kept believing in me after being handed reasons not to. I see a heart that has whispered prayers in languages the mouth did not know how to speak yet. I see all of it, not from a distance, from the inside. Here is what most people miss about being seen by me. They think being seen means being examined, being graded, being measured against a standard. That is not how my seeing works. My seeing is the seeing of a maker looking at his own work and smiling. My seeing has love baked into it. My seeing does not leave room for shame. When I look at you, what I see is not a list of your failures. What I see is a person I made, walking a road I know by heart, carrying more than anyone around them knows, and still showing up. Hear me on this. The heart I see is not the heart you see. You see the heart on its tired days. You see the heart when it has let you down. You see the heart that failed to feel what you thought it should feel at a funeral, or failed to love the way you wanted to love on a hard afternoon. That is the view you have. My view is wider. My view includes every small yes you said to kindness when no one was counting, every time you chose gentleness when harshness would have been satisfying, every time you forgave someone in your own mind before they even apologized, every time you chose not to say the cutting thing that would have won the argument. All of that is in my view. All of that is real to me, even when it has become invisible to you. Here is what I want you to understand about how I keep records. The world keeps records the way a bank keeps records. input and output, credit and debit. The world counts what was done and what was not done. That is not how I keep records. I keep records the way a father keeps memories of his child. The record I have of you is not a ledger. It is a collection of moments. Moments when I was proud. Moments when I laughed along with you without you knowing. Moments when I wept with you in a room nobody else was in. Moments when you made a choice that nobody will ever applaud, and I applauded anyway. Those are my records. That is the book I am keeping. Some of you have been living as if a celestial accountant is watching you, as if every mistake is being tallied, as if every small slip is being written down in permanent ink. That is not accurate. That is a picture given to you by fear, not by truth. The only ink permanent enough in my kingdom is the ink of my love, and that ink is not spent on your mistakes. That ink is spent on your name. That ink has written your name into the book of those who belong to me, and no eraser has the strength to reach that page. Let me bring you into a story I want you to sit with, because I have told a lot of stories across generations, and I want to tell you one now that fits where you are. There was a woman named Hagar. She was a servant in the house of a woman who did not treat her well. She was pregnant with a child that the household did not want to celebrate. She had no home of her own, no choice of her own, no voice in what her life had become. And the day arrived when the treatment got bad enough that she ran out into the desert with nothing. A pregnant woman with no plan, no water, no people, no direction. She was not running toward something, she was only running away. That is a kind of running I know well. That is a kind of running many of you have done in your own versions of it. I found her by a spring, not a river, not a city, a small spring in a dry place. And I spoke to her. I asked her questions. I named her. I named her son before he was born. I promised her a future. And then she did something no one had done in all the pages of my book before that moment. She gave me a name. She called me El Roi, the God who sees me. She was the first one to name me that way. Not a prophet, not a patriarch, a servant woman, alone, pregnant, broken, sitting by a spring in a desert. She looked up and she said, "You are the God who sees me." I was seeing her. I was seeing her the whole time, in the household where she was mistreated, on the road she took when she ran, in the desert where she sat down to cry. Not one moment of her story happened outside my sight, and I did not only see her, I admired her. I admired the heart that had kept beating through the years of being treated like she did not matter. I admired the courage it took to leave a bad place even without a map. I admired the softness she had not lost, even though she had every reason to lose it. I am telling you her story because I want you to hear yourself in it. You have felt like Hagar more than once, in a room where you were not treated well, on a road you had to take alone, in a desert where you were not sure you were seen. I was there. I saw you. I admired you. And I am the same God who sees you now, exactly as you are, with the same tenderness that found her by that spring. You are not a servant in my house. You are a child. But the truth that Hagar learned is the truth I want you to learn. The truth is that I see you in the dry places. I see you when no one else is looking. I see you when the story of your life has gotten small in the eyes of the world. And what I see, I love. And what I love, I am not ashamed of. And what I am not ashamed of, I will speak well of in every room for all the days of your life. I admire the heart you carry. Now breathe. Just breathe. Put your hands somewhere on your body where you can feel the heartbeat, the chest, the wrist, wherever. Feel that rhythm. That is not the work of your hands. That is me pulsing through you, keeping you. I have been doing that since before you took your first breath. Every heartbeat is me saying yes. I want you alive. I want you here. I want you a little longer. I am not done with you. You are not a task. You are not a project. You are not a problem I am trying to solve before I can enjoy you. I enjoy you now, in this state, before the healing you are waiting for, before the clarity you are asking for, before the answer to the thing you have been praying about. I enjoy you right now, exactly as you are, with the thoughts you just had, with the worry that has not left, with the weariness you cannot explain. I know you have a hard time receiving that. Most of you have been shaped to believe that love must be earned, and once earned, must be maintained with effort. And so, when love arrives without a price tag, your instinct is to check the fine print, to look for the condition, to wait for the other shoe to drop. There is no fine print. There is no condition. There is no shoe. There is only me, looking at you, delighted. Let me unteach you some lies, gently. Lie 1. You are tolerated here. No, you are welcomed here. You are wanted here. There was never a moment when heaven sighed and said, "Fine, let them in, I guess." Heaven said, "Yes, that is my child. Bring them close." Your welcome is not conditional. It is not probationary. You are not on a trial period that you can fail out of. You are in the family. You have been in the family since before you knew the family existed. Lie 2. You are loved in spite of. No, you are loved because of. That is a subtle thing, and I want you to hear it. The world loves in spite of. The world says, even though you are like this, I will love you anyway. I do not love like that. I love because of. I love because you are the one I made. The things you think of as flaws are often the places where my hand has been most at work. The things you are most embarrassed by are often the places where my love has been most intimate. I do not love you despite your story. I love you through your story. All of it. The parts you tell and the parts you hide. Lie 3. My admiration has to be earned by performance. No. My admiration is a response to who you are, not what you do. When I say that I admire you, I am not admiring a resume. I am not handing out trophies based on your best moments. I am looking at the whole of you, the way you show up, the way you try, the way you ache when you have let someone down, the way you stay tender, the way you come back, the way you keep going when going is hard. That is what I admire, and it has nothing to do with whether you hit a goal this week. Lie 4. If you really knew how I feel about you, you would get proud and drift for me. No, that is backwards. It is a strange piece of religious thinking that says we have to be kept small so we do not wander. My love does not make people proud. My love humbles people. The ones who truly know how loved they are walk softer than the ones who are not sure. They have less to prove. They have less to defend. They can afford to be generous because they are not running on empty. I want you full. I want you so full that you have nothing to prove to anyone in any room. That fullness is the beginning of real freedom. There is a part of this I have been saving, about a name. Hold that. We will come to it now, the long way, through a story. Sit with me a little longer. There is a story I want to tell you. A story about a girl who was given 2 names and who lived under one of them for a long time before she remembered the other. And before she could become what she was made to be, she had to learn that the second name was not the truer one. The first one was. The hidden one was. Her first name was Hadassah. It meant myrtle, a small, fragrant tree that grew in places nobody bothered to look. The myrtle does not impress. It does not climb high. It does not stand out from far away. You have to come close to know what it is. You have to be near enough to smell it. The name fit her. She was a quiet girl, an orphan. Both of her parents had died when she was small, and her older cousin Mordecai had taken her in and raised her as his own. He was not her father. He became her father by choice, the way the best fathers in this world are made, by daily showing up. He fed her. He taught her. He told her the old stories of her people, the ones who had been carried into a foreign land. He told her she was named after the myrtle for a reason. The myrtle survives. The myrtle is humble and durable. The myrtle keeps its leaves through the long, dry seasons. He wanted her to know her name was a small green promise. But the place she lived in did not call her Hadassah. The place she lived in called her Esther. That was her Persian name, the name the empire used. Esther meant star. It also sounded like the name of a foreign goddess, and that troubled her cousin, who knew the stories. She had been given a name to fit a court she did not belong in, and a faith she had not chosen. The name was for going out. The name was for the public. The name was the costume the world made her wear. Hadassah was for the inside. Esther was for the outside. And for a long time, she lived more in the outside name than the inside one. You know how that goes. You have lived in your outside name longer than your inside one. The world has been calling you the version of yourself that fits its categories, the job title, the role, the expectation, the label that came from a wound, the label someone else handed you because they did not know what to do with the actual you. You have answered to that name out of habit. You have responded when it was called. You have started to believe it was the truth about you. It was not. It was the costume. The inside name has been waiting all along. Hadassah ended up in the king's palace, not by her choosing. There was a search across the kingdom. Young women were taken from their homes. She was taken with them. She did not have the option to refuse. She was given a year of preparation, oils, perfumes, training in how to walk and how to speak and how to be presented. 1. She was being shaped to fit a room she did not ask to enter. Many of you have lived through your own version of that. Being trained for a life you did not choose. Being polished for a stage you did not want to stand on. Being prepared for a role that was not actually who you were. I was with her in those rooms. She did not know it yet. She had been taught about me by Mordecai, but she had not yet had to lean on me with her whole weight. The leaning was coming. I was preparing her for the leaning. Every day in those preparation rooms, where she felt like a piece of fabric being draped and redraped, I was building something inside her that the empire could not see. The empire was working on her outside. I was working on her inside. The empire saw a beautiful young woman being made ready for a king. I saw a hidden Hadassah being made ready for a moment that the empire had no idea was coming. This is important. While the world is shaping your outside, I am shaping your inside. Do not assume the loud work is the only work. The loud work is rarely the real work. The real work happens in the quiet rooms where nobody can see what is being formed. Hadassah did not look like a deliverer. She looked like a candidate in a beauty contest. The deliverer was being grown underneath the candidate, and the deliverer would only be needed when the moment arrived. Until then, the deliverer would not show. Until then, the candidate was the visible version. I was patient with that. I am patient with that. In you, too. She was chosen. The king picked her. Out of all the women, her. She was given the crown. She was given the title. She was given the apartments and the servants and the access. From the outside, this looked like the high point of her story. The orphan girl had become queen. The myrtle had been planted in a palace. Anyone watching would have said, "This is the climax. This is what was meant to happen. Now she will live happily." But this was not the climax. This was only the setup. The real story had not begun. The real story would only begin when the threat came. The threat came through a man named Haman. He was high in the king's court. He hated her people. He convinced the king to issue a decree that would have wiped them out, every Jewish family in the empire. Children, elders, mothers, fathers. The decree was signed, the date was set, and the empire moved on, as if signing the death of a people was just another day at the office. That is what empires do. They sign the destruction of those they do not value, and they keep going. Mordecai heard the decree. He went into mourning. He stood at the gate of the palace in sackcloth. And he sent a message to Hadassah, who was now Esther, who was now queen, who was now far enough inside the palace that the news of the decree had not yet reached her. He sent her the news. And then he sent her this: "Perhaps you have come to this position for such a time as this." Such a time as this. Hear those words. Such a time as this. He did not say, "You have arrived." He did not say, "You have made it." He said, "Perhaps the entire arc of your unlikely life, the orphaning, the cousin who took you in, the kidnapping into the palace, the year of preparation, the choice by the king, perhaps all of it was for this single moment. Perhaps the unlikely path was a path. Perhaps your strange life was an aim. Perhaps the costume name and the inside name were going to come together at last, and you would have to choose which one would walk into the king's chamber to plead for your people. Feel that for yourself, because it is your moment too, not the same circumstances, your circumstances, the unlikely path you have walked, the orphaning of one kind or another that you went through, the shelter you found that was not what you had pictured, the training you did not ask for, the doors that opened that you did not understand, the doors that closed that you grieved. All of it has been moving you toward a moment, maybe many moments, moments where the inside name has to step forward and the outside name has to step aside. Esther was afraid. I want you to hear that. She was afraid. She wrote back to Mordecai. She told him that to enter the king's chamber without being summoned was to risk death. The king had not called her in 30 days. She did not know if she still had favor. She did not know if the law would be lifted for her. She might be killed for stepping toward the throne. Her fear was not weakness. Her fear was honest. Her fear was the response of any human being who knows the cost of stepping into a room they have not been invited to. Mordecai sent her one more message. If you keep silent, deliverance will arise from another place, but you and your father's house will perish. Who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this? He did not bully her. He did not shame her. He told her two things at once. He told her that I would not be stopped, with or without her. And he told her that her freedom to step in was a privilege, not a guilty obligation. He told her, you get to be part of this. You do not have to be, but you get to. And if you do not, you will miss something that was being offered to you by your Maker. She thought about it. She told her people to fast. She fasted for 3 days, and then she said the sentence, I want you to hear and to learn for yourself. If I perish, I perish. That is not despair. That is freedom. That is the moment a person stops trying to keep the small life safe and steps into the larger life that has been calling. If I perish, I perish. She had let go of needing to survive in order to obey. She had let go of needing the costume name to be safe. The inside name had stood up and walked toward the throne and was prepared to do so even if it meant the end. That is the moment Hadassah and Esther became one person. Both names walking together. Both names finally on the same page. Inside and outside reconciled. The hidden self and the public self standing in the same body. walking the same hallway, breathing the same breath, no longer at war. Listen to what I am about to say. Most of you have been at war with one of your two names. The outside name and the inside name have been pulling against each other. The version of you the world calls and the version of you I have been growing have been in a quiet civil war. You have been exhausted by it. The exhaustion is real, and the resolution is not to kill one of the names. The resolution is to let the inside name lead, and the outside name will fall into place behind it. The deliverer will lead. The candidate will follow. The myrtle will lead. The star will follow. Your true name will lead, and your circumstances will rearrange around it. She walked into the king's chamber. The king extended his scepter. He did not kill her. He welcomed her. She invited him and Haman to a feast, then to a second feast. And at the second feast, she said the words that turned the empire on its head. My people are about to be destroyed. The man who plotted it is at this table. And the king's love for her was bigger than his loyalty to Haman. The plot was reversed. Haman was undone. The Jewish people were spared. A festival was instituted that her people still keep thousands of years later, called Purim, to remember the day when a queen who used to be an orphan stepped into a room and changed the course of a nation by saying yes to the inside name. She had two names her whole life. By the end of the story, only one mattered. Hadassah was who she was. Esther was the title she carried for a while, in order to do what Hadassah had been made for. The inside name was the truer name. The outside name was the assignment. The outside name had been useful and would always be remembered, but the inside name was what I had called her from the beginning. You have an inside name too. I have been speaking it over you for years, mostly under the noise of the outside name. Sometimes you have caught snatches of it. A moment in worship when you felt seen and you did not know why. A moment in nature when you felt like everything was right with you and you could not explain it. A moment in a long drive when a sentence dropped into your spirit that did not come from anywhere on earth. Those were me, calling you by your inside name, the name the world has not learned yet. The name that has been yours since before you were born. Let me tell you what I notice in the Esther story that most people miss. My name is not in it. The book that bears her name does not mention me directly, not once. And yet, I am in every paragraph. Every coincidence is mine. Every timing is mine. The night the king cannot sleep and asks for the records to be read and hears about Mordecai, mine. The moment the gallows Haman built for Mordecai become the gallows that hold Haman, mine. The fact that the queen before Esther had been sent away and a search was conducted at the precise time a Jewish girl was old enough to be considered, mine. I was in every page, even when the page did not put my name on it. Hear that for your own life. I have been in every page of your story, even the pages where my name was not visible, the pages where it looked like coincidence, the pages where you thought you were on your own, the pages where it seemed like the arrangements were random. They were not. I was arranging. I was timing. I was placing. I was preparing. The empire of your circumstances has not been writing your story. I have been writing it underneath. The empire only wrote the outside. I want you to receive something now, not in a future moment. Now, I am going to speak your identity over you, and I want you to let the words in. You are mine. That is the first sentence of your real story. Every other sentence is a footnote. You are chosen, not as a second option, not as a replacement, chosen first, on purpose, by a father who wanted exactly you. You are forgiven, not conditionally, not partially, fully. The receipt has been signed. The door has been closed on what was held against you. You do not have to keep returning to that room to check if I really did it. I really did it. You are held in a grip that is not going to loosen, not when you mess up, not when you forget me for a week, not when you pray badly or do not pray at all. Held. You are admired. This is the one you need to hear today. You are admired. I see the heart you carry, and I admire it. I admire the softness you have kept. I admire the faith you have used to keep getting up. I admire the kindness you have given to people who did not deserve it. I admire the way you keep hoping, quietly, when hope would be easier to put down. A part of this I have been saving, and we will return to it soon. But first, stay here. Stay with the fact that you are seen and admired and chosen and held. Let it land somewhere it has not been allowed to land before. You can stop performing now. I know you have been performing, not in a loud way, in a quiet, invisible way. You have been performing for a version of me that lives in your head but does not live in reality. A version of me that is disappointed easily. A version of me that keeps score. A version of me that withdraws when you slip. That version is not me. That version is a ghost built out of the disappointments of earthly fathers, teachers, bosses, and church cultures. I am not that ghost. I am your actual father. And your actual father is not hard to please. Your actual father has already been pleased at the cross once for all, and I have not changed my mind. Breathe again. This part is heavy, and I want you to move through it slowly. Here is what most people miss about my father heart. They think a good father is one who is strict enough to keep the child in line. A good father, in the popular imagination, is a kind of well-meaning authority figure who corrects when needed and backs off when things are going well. That is a pale shadow of what I actually am. A good father, the real kind, is a father whose delight in the child is obvious, whose affection is not hidden behind a need to correct, whose first instinct is to enjoy the child, not to edit them. I enjoy you. That is the first instinct. Correction comes later and carries no shame. The way I father is not the way most of you were fathered. Some of you had good fathers, and some of you had absent fathers, and some of you had fathers who wounded more than they healed. I am not any of those. I am what a father was always meant to be. When the word of the Old Covenant wanted to describe me, it used the word compassionate, slow to anger, abounding in steadfast love. That is the self-description I gave to my own people when I was asked to describe myself. That is what you can take to the bank: compassionate, slow to anger, abounding in love. Let me tell you what slow to anger actually means. It does not mean I have a short fuse that I work to keep down. It means my default is not anger. My default is tenderness. Anger is not where I start. Anger is a last resort when love has been refused for a long time. And even then, my anger is not cruel. It is protective. It is the anger of a father who sees one of his children being hurt by a lie and who steps in to break the lie. My anger is always working for you, never against you. Here is something else worth naming. The tenderness I feel toward you is not a new development. It has not come about because you got better. It has not been unlocked by some spiritual achievement you reached. The tenderness has always been the ground. Even in the years when you were far from me, I was tender toward you. Even in the seasons when prayer had dried up and your Bible was closed, I was tender toward you. Tenderness is not my mood. Tenderness is my nature. You cannot make me hard by being unfaithful. You cannot make me cold by forgetting me. You can only postpone the warmth you are receiving. And even that is hard to do, because I keep finding ways to slip warmth to you through things you did not know were from me. The sunset that stopped you on a hard drive home, that was me. The stranger who smiled at you when you were holding something heavy, that was me. The song that came on at the precise moment you needed a lifeline, that was me. The unexpected peace that dropped into a moment when panic should have won, that was me. The friend who texted you a single sentence at the exact hour you were thinking of giving up, that was me. I have been slipping warmth through every crack I could find, and most of it went unnoticed, and I did not mind. I did not need the credit. Credit is not what I am after. I am after your heart. And my warmth has been reaching your heart even when you did not see the source. Hear what is coming. A season is arriving where you will start to see, start to recognize, start to trace back the small mercies to the one who sent them. That is what happens when a person has been walked with by me for a long time. Their eyes sharpen. They begin to notice. They begin to thank me for things they used to think were coincidences. Gratitude grows in them the way a garden grows in good soil, and my delight in them grows too, because the gardener is always delighted when the garden starts to come in. Speak for a moment to the part of you that has been quietly angry with me. I can handle that. You do not have to hide it. Some of you have been carrying a small, polite anger at me for years, over a thing that did not go the way you hoped, over a prayer that did not seem to be answered, over a person you loved who left, over a health situation that has not turned. You have not said it out loud because you were taught that anger at God is sinful. I want to tell you what I think about that anger. I think it is honest, and I would rather have your honest anger than your polite distance. Tell me, out loud if you can, what has been the source of the anger? What has made you wonder whether I really saw you? What has made you question my goodness? You do not have to protect me from your questions. I am not fragile. I am not going to withdraw because you finally said the thing. I am going to come closer. I am going to sit down in the room with you and hear it. And then I am going to slowly, gently begin to tell you the part of the story you did not see, the part that was happening underneath, the part where I was present the whole time. The hardest thing about faith is staying in relationship with me when I have not yet explained myself. I know some of what has happened in your life is not going to be explained on this side of eternity. I know that is hard to hear, but I want you to know that the absence of explanation is not the absence of care. I have been with you in everything I did not explain. I have been holding you in everything that broke. I have been forming something in you that will only be visible later. You can trust that, not because you have to pretend to trust it, because I am going to keep earning your trust slowly, the way I always have. Here is what I want to say about the thing you are most disappointed about. I see it. I have not turned away from it. I am not ashamed of how long it has taken. I have not forgotten your prayers. And when the full picture becomes visible, the disappointment will not be the final word. I am not promising you a pain-free road. I am promising you my presence on every road and a final chapter that will hold more good than you can currently imagine. Put your hand over your heart again. I like that motion. I like when you reach for the place where you feel me. Keep doing it. You can do it 100 times a day. I will not get tired of it. You matter to me. Whisper it. I matter to him. Good. Hold on to that. That is the truest sentence about your life. Now here's something else I want you to carry. You are not only loved, you are also wanted. Those are different categories. Love is what a person owes you because of who they are. Wanting is when they actively choose to be near you. I do not only love you because I have to. I want to be near you. I want to know how your week is going. I want you to tell me the small things. I want you to bring me the parts of your story that feel too small to bother anyone with. I am not bothered. I am gladdened. The smallest details of your day are interesting to me because they are happening in a life I have been invested in for a long time. Most of my children do not believe this. They believe I only want the big requests, the emergencies, the crises. They think the small things are not worthy of my attention. They think if they tell me about the small hurt, I will be annoyed. I will not be annoyed. There is nothing in your life too small for my care. The frustration at work, the disagreement with a friend, too. End quote. The small disappointment you cannot shake. Bring it. Bring all of it. The smallest joys too. Bring me the small joys. Tell me what made you smile. Tell me about the dog, the neighbor, the coffee that was just right. I want to hear it. I want to hear it from you. Friendship with me is not formal. It is not the stiff politeness of a visit with a distant relative. Friendship with me is the easy talking of two people who have known each other a long time. And we have. We have known each other since before you were born. You just did not always remember that we had. Now you remember. Now you know. And the conversation can become what it was always supposed to be. Let me tell you something about the silent work I have been doing in you. Most of the work I do in a life is not loud. It does not announce itself. It does not come with fireworks. It comes in small increments over long stretches of time, and the person living the life usually does not see it until later. You are living in the middle of my work on you. You cannot see the finished thing, but I can. And I want to tell you about some of what I see. I see a person who has become more patient than they used to be. Even if you do not feel patient, even if you still lose your patience and apologize, I see more patience than you had 5 years ago. The growth is real. You have been changing. You have been becoming softer in the right places and stronger in the right places, both at once. That is my hand. I see a person who has become more honest than they used to be. You have stopped lying to yourself about certain things. You have stopped performing in rooms where you used to perform. You have learned to say, I do not know. You have learned to say, I was wrong. You have learned to say, I am tired. Those are enormous shifts. Those are the shifts that happen when I am working under the surface. I see them. I see a person who has become more compassionate. Because pain has taught you things easy seasons cannot teach. Because you have sat with your own weakness long enough that you no longer look down on weakness in other people. You have become someone who knows how to be present for a friend going through something hard. That is not a small thing. That is a pearl. And pearls are made by long friction, not by quick heat. I have been making a pearl inside you. I see a person whose faith has gotten quieter and deeper. You used to need a lot of noise to believe. Worship songs, conferences, big moments. You still enjoy those, and they are good. But now you can find me in the quiet. You can find me in the car on the way to work. You can find me in the 10 minutes before the noise of the day begins. That is a grown faith. That is the faith of someone who knows me, not just someone who wants something from me. I admire the heart you carry. That is the sentence I keep returning to, because it is the sentence I want stitched into the lining of your soul. I want it to be the thing that comes to mind when the old voices try to come back. The old voices will try. They will tell you, you are a disappointment. You are not. They will tell you, your best years are behind you. They are not. They will tell you, I have lost interest. I have not. The old voices will try to retake the territory they used to hold. I am giving you a sentence to meet them with. Let that be the wall they run into. I want to talk about the part of you that is still hiding. I know there is a part. There is always a part. A part that has not been offered to anyone, not even me. A part that you keep in a small room inside yourself that you do not show. Maybe it is a shame. Maybe it is a disappointment with yourself. Maybe it is a desire you are afraid to say out loud. Maybe it is a memory. Whatever it is, you have not handed it over yet. You have let me into every other room except that one. I am not going to force the door. I am not that kind of God. I am not going to barge in. I am going to stand in the hallway outside that door, patiently, as I have been standing for however long it has been closed. And I want to tell you something that might surprise you. I do not need the full tour to love you. I love you already, but I also know that as long as that room is locked, there is a part of you that cannot fully rest. You are carrying the weight of keeping it hidden. That weight is exhausting, and I would like to help carry it. When you are ready, not a day before, but when you are ready, bring me into that room. Do not clean it up first. Do not arrange it. Do not make it presentable. Bring me in as it is. I have seen everything already. Nothing in that room is going to shock me. Nothing in that room is going to change how I feel about you. The only thing that will change is the weight. The weight will come off. It will come off in the presence of the one who was never going to judge you for what was in there. Some of you have a shame room. I want to tell you what I do with shame rooms. I do not redecorate them. I transform them. I turn them into the very rooms where my presence becomes most obvious. The shame room becomes the testimony room. The thing you are most embarrassed about becomes the thing you will one day talk about with peace. Because I did something in it that only I could do. I have a long history of turning shame rooms into sanctuaries. I will do it in you too. Let me tell you what grace actually does. Grace does not hide your past. Grace does not pretend the thing did not happen. Grace takes the thing that happened and weaves it into a story that ends in goodness. Grace makes the scar part of the beauty. Grace does not leave you looking like you never fell. Grace leaves you looking like someone who fell and was loved back to standing. That is a different kind of beautiful. That is the kind of beautiful heaven notices. Now breathe. Close your eyes if you can. If you are driving or moving, keep them open. Just listen. Just let the words come in. I love you. Not as a greeting, not as a closing line. I love you as the most truthful sentence you will hear in this hour. Loved, not a general love, specific love. Love with your name on it. Love with the history of every year you have lived. Love that knows the exact shape of your loneliness and the exact shape of your hope. You are not alone. Say it back. I am not alone. Good. Hold it. There is something else I want you to put down before we go further. The names that other people have written on you in pencil and that you have started writing in pen. The names that came from a parent who did not know any better. The names that came from a teacher who said one careless thing in a hallway when you were 10. The names that came from a coach, a boss, a friend, a relative who needed you to be smaller so they could feel taller. The names that came from a culture that decided which kinds of people were valuable and which kinds were not. You have been wearing those names without realizing it. Some of you have been wearing them for so long that you no longer know which thoughts about yourself are yours and which thoughts came from someone else's mouth. I want to peel them off, slowly, one by one. We do not have to do them all in this hour. We can do as many as you can stand to look at. The first thing to know is that the name a person gave you is not the name that sticks. The name that sticks is the name you agree with, the name you stop arguing against, the name you start whispering to yourself in the silence. The work in front of us is to disagree with the false names, to stop whispering them, to replace them with the names I have been speaking over you all along. You are not what they called you on your worst day. You are not what they said when they were angry. You are not what was written about you in a moment when you were not in the room. You are not the name your shame gave you in the middle of a sleepless night. You are not the name your fear has been calling you in the back of your mind for the last decade. None of those names are mine. None of those names came from the one who actually made you and gets to know you. Hear what your real names sound like: beloved, mine, forgiven, held, wanted, welcomed, adopted into the household of the King, heir, friend, carrier of my spirit, bearer of my image, vessel, voice, light. None of those names were given to you because you earned them. They were given to you because of who I am and because of the relationship I have decided to have with you. They are not negotiable. They cannot be traded back. You cannot be voted out of the family. You cannot be quietly removed from the page where your name is written. The page is permanent. The ink is mine. Speak now about the work of your hands, because I have been watching those hands for a long time, and I have things to say about them. Your hands have been doing things nobody has thanked you for. Your hands have been keeping a household running. Your hands have been showing up at a job that does not fully appreciate them. Your hands have been answering the texts, wiping the tears, carrying the groceries, paying the bills, holding the phone through conversations that drained you. Your hands have been doing ministry that nobody has called ministry. All of that is real work. All of that is seen by me. Here is what most people miss about hidden work. They think hidden work does not count because nobody saw it. But in my kingdom, hidden work counts double. Hidden work is where character gets built. Hidden work is where faithfulness gets measured. Hidden work is the soil that public fruitfulness grows out of. When I look at a person's life, I do not start with their public accomplishments. I start with their private faithfulness. And your private faithfulness has been significant. Your private faithfulness has been the kind that makes heaven lean in. Think of the widow who gave 2 small coins. Everyone else was putting in large amounts out of their abundance. She put in what she had to live on. Nobody saw her at the time. Nobody noticed. And yet that moment was recorded. That moment is still being talked about thousands of years later. Why? Because I saw. And because I saw, I told. And because I told, her small offering became an everlasting testimony about what I actually value. I value what nobody else is counting. I value what is poured out without an audience. I value the hidden faithfulness that has no earthly reward attached. Your hands have been doing that kind of work. And the reward attached to that kind of work is not small. It is just delayed. It is just not paid out in the currencies this world understands. It will be paid out in currencies that last. In peace that is not shaken when the economy is shaken. In joy that is not dependent on how much you accomplished this week. In a final meeting with me where I look at your hands, every line of them, and tell you, thank you. And that thank you will be worth more than every thank you you never received on this side. Speak next about your body, because I know some of you are carrying heaviness in your body, and not just your spirit. Your body has been through things. Some of it you chose. Some of it you did not choose. Some of it was passed down to you from people who came before. Some of it is the weight of years. Some of it is the weight of stress that had nowhere else to go. Your body has been a faithful servant of a life that has asked a lot. Give it some compassion today, not condemnation, compassion. Your body is not a problem to fix. Your body is a home I gave you to live in for a while. And homes need care. And homes also need grace. You are not your body. You are a soul living in a body. And the body, while it is yours, is on loan. It will not last forever in its current form. Another body is being prepared for you. A body that will not ache. A body that will not tire. A body that will not fail you in the middle of a moment you are trying to live into. But this body, now, is still worth honoring. Honoring your body does not mean obsessing over it. It means feeding it reasonably. It means moving it when you can. It means resting when rest is what is called for. It means being kind to it the way you would be kind to a friend. Some of you are at war with your own body, and I want that war to come to an end. Make peace with the body I gave you. It is doing its best under conditions that are harder than it was designed for. For those who are facing a health situation that is frightening, hear me. I am not absent from that situation. I am with you in every appointment. I am with you in every waiting room. I am with you in every test result. I am with you in the long moments before the doctor walks in. My peace is available to you in those moments, not as a replacement for your fear, but as a companion to it. You can be scared, and I can still be there. Fear does not drive me away. Fear is often the doorway through which my peace most clearly enters. Know this: your body is not a punishment. Your body is not a failure. Your body is not something you earned through bad choices. Some of your struggles with your body are the result of living in a world that has been broken by the long arc of things I did not design, and I do not blame you for those struggles. I have compassion on them. I meet you in them, and I am working in you and around you, even when the body does not cooperate. The body is not the measure of whether I am moving. I move in ways deeper than the body. I move in the spirit first, and the spirit is still lit in you, whatever the body is doing. Come back now to the part of this I was saving, about the door in front of you. There is a door in front of you that you have not yet walked through. You can feel it. You have been sensing it for a while. You are not sure if it is real. You are not sure if it is something you're supposed to walk through or something you're supposed to resist. I want to speak to that door now because you need clarity on it, and I am the one who put it there. The door is real. The sense you have that something new is approaching is not imagination. It is not hype. It is not wishful thinking. I have been preparing a door for you. It is a door into a room of your life that has not yet been lived. A room where some of what you have been praying about is finally held. A room where some of what you have been becoming is finally useful. A room you are not quite sized for yet, but you will be soon. Do not rush the door. Do not force it. Do not try to open it with your own hand. I am the one who opens doors that are really mine. You can tell when a door is mine by the peace around it. My doors have peace around them. The doors the enemy builds have urgency and pressure. If the thing in front of you is panicking you and rushing you and demanding you decide before you have prayed, that is not my door. My doors have time around them. You can pray at them. You can rest near them. You can ask questions. I will not shame you for asking. When the door opens, it will open cleanly. You will not have to force it. You will not have to trick anyone. You will not have to perform to deserve it. You will walk through, and the room on the other side will feel strange for a moment, because it will be bigger than you are used to. That is okay. I will teach you how to live in a bigger room. I will not drop you into it and walk away. I will be at your side for every learning curve. I have done this 1,000 times with people. I know how to bring a child into a larger life without breaking them. Some of you are afraid of the bigger room, not because the room is bad, because you do not want to fail in a more visible way. In a smaller life, the failures are smaller too. In a bigger life, There is more exposure, more that can go wrong in a way other people can see. I want to address that fear directly. I am not bringing you into a bigger room so you can fail publicly. I am bringing you into a bigger room because you have been prepared to live there. The preparation has been real. The character work I have done in you is enough for the room I am sending you into. You are not behind. You are exactly where I need you to be on the eve of the door. Think about someone I worked with long ago. Think about Gideon, hidden in a wine press, threshing wheat in the wrong place because he was afraid of being seen by his enemies. A man who had been living small, living cautious, living as if his best posture was to avoid attention. I came to him, and I did not come to him with a list of his failures. I came to him, and I called him Mighty Warrior. That was his new name. That was the name I saw on him, even while he was hiding. I saw the warrior, he saw the hider, and I kept calling him by the name I saw, not the name he answered to. He argued with me. Of course he did. He said my family is the least in our tribe, and I am the least in my family. I know. That was not news to me. I was not asking because I had made a mistake. I was asking because I saw something he could not see. I see the same way in you. You have been answering to a name that is too small. I have been calling you by a name that is waiting for you. Mighty Warrior. Chosen One. Admired Heart. The name you actually answer to will determine how you walk through the door. There is one more thing I want to say before we come near the end. I want to talk about your impact on others because you have underestimated it. You think the people around you do not see you. That is half true. Some do not, but others have been watching, and you do not know. Someone in your life has been quietly learning from you. Watching how you handle a hard day, watching how you keep showing up, watching the way you talk to people who cannot do anything for you. They have been taking notes you did not know they were taking. And when the day comes that they face their own hard thing, they will remember the way you walked through yours, and they will find strength for their path because you walked yours with faith. Your life is a sermon the people near you are already reading. You are preaching with your days. You are preaching with your patience. You are preaching with your small kindnesses. And my Spirit has been using your sermon in ways you cannot trace. That is why I am careful with you. That is why I am intentional about what I allow and what I permit. You are not only walking for yourself, you are walking ahead of a few other people who are going to need the path you cut. Hear that, because on the hardest days, it might be the thing that keeps you walking. You are walking for more than yourself. You are walking for people who do not yet know they are going to need you. When you choose faithfulness in a small moment, you are leaving a footprint someone else is going to stand in. That is a holy inheritance. That is a legacy no one can steal. I am proud of you. 3 words. Receive them. Some of you flinched when you read those words. I felt it. The flinch is honest. The flinch is the body's memory of a time when those words were either never said or were said and then taken back. You are bracing for the catch. You are waiting for the condition that follows. There is no condition. There is no catch. The sentence stands on its own, with no fine print, no follow-up demand, no quiet contract you did not see. 3 words. Mine. Toward you. Today. Without exception. I know some of you have never heard those words from the voice that mattered most to you. I know some of you had a father who withheld them, or a mother who did not know how to say them, or a coach who always found the critique. I am not any of those voices. I am the voice underneath all those voices, correcting the record. I am proud of you, not in a distant, polite way, in a specific, detailed, fatherly way. I am proud of the specific ways you have grown. I am proud of the specific decisions you made that no one applauded. I am proud of the way you have kept believing me, even when believing me has been costly. You are my favorite. I will say it even though it sounds ridiculous. I have a lot of children, and I love them all, and somehow my love is big enough to make each one a favorite. That is a mystery of infinite love. You are not competing for my affection. There is enough of me for each of you to be the one I am delighted by. And right now, in this moment, you are the one I am speaking to. Which means, for this moment, you have my full attention. And my full attention is not a small thing. I admire the heart you carry. Let me say it once more near the close. I want the sentence to walk out of this with you. I want it to go home with you. I want it to sit at the table with you. I want it to be the thing you remember when the hard voices try to come back. Speak to your tomorrow with me. Not because tomorrow is better than today. I am not that kind of God. I meet you in today, fully. But you should also know that tomorrow is already held. The things that feel unresolved are already being moved on. The prayers that feel unheard are already being answered, just not on the schedule you expected. The relationships that feel broken are already being worked on in ways the other person does not even know yet. There is no waiting for the right moment from my side. The right moment is already underway. You are walking into a life that has been walked in front of you for a long time. The future you fear is not the future you will arrive at. Hear that carefully. You have been picturing a future built out of your worst possibilities. A future made of the bills that did not get paid, the diagnosis that did not get healed, the relationship that did not get restored, the door that did not open. You have been pre-grieving a tomorrow that may never come. The tomorrow that is actually coming has my hand all over it. It is not a tomorrow without difficulty. There will still be hard days. There will still be moments where the road is steep. But the tomorrow that is coming has favor woven into it that the version you are picturing does not contain. You have been grieving the wrong tomorrow. Let me tell you what the right tomorrow actually contains. It contains me. That is the first and most important fact about it. Wherever you are, whenever you arrive, I am already there. And the room you have not walked into yet has already had me in it. The conversation you have not had yet has already had me in it. The decision you have not made yet has already had me considering it with you. You are not sending yourself into uncharted territory. You are sending yourself into territory I mapped before you knew it existed. There is no square inch of your tomorrow that is unfamiliar to me. I have been there, ahead of you, getting it ready. It also contains a version of you that you have not met yet, the you on the other side of the next door, the you who is more rooted than the you reading this, the you who is gentler with yourself, the you who has learned a few more things and unlearned a few more lies. That you exists already in seed form inside the you that is here today. The seed is real. The growth is real. You are not stuck in the version of yourself that you are tired of. The version you are tired of is the one being shed. The version that is coming up is the version that has been forming under the surface, the way a tree forms a new ring every season without announcing it. So when the fear comes, and it will come, remind it who walks in front of you. When the dread comes, and it will come, remind it who holds the days you have not yet lived. When the accuser comes, and he will come, remind him that the verdict has already been handed down in a court he was not invited to. The verdict is favor. The verdict is admired. The verdict is mine. Rest here a moment. Just rest. Let the words settle. You do not have to do anything with them. You do not have to turn them into a plan. You do not have to produce an action step. Just let them be true. Let them warm the cold place in you that has been cold for a long time. I am here. Say it back. He is here. Good. There is one more thing about the Esther story that I want to come back to before we finish, because part of the story that almost nobody talks about is Mordecai. He was the cousin, the one at the gate, the one who raised Hadassah, the one who refused to bow to Haman, even when the whole court did. He spent years sitting at the gate of the palace, not inside, not honored, outside, watching, listening, faithful in an unrewarded position. There was a moment early in the story when Mordecai overheard a plot to assassinate the king. He told Esther. Esther told the king in Mordecai's name. The plot was stopped. The man who saved the king's life was Mordecai. And then for years, nothing happened. He was not invited in. He was not given a position. He was not thanked publicly. The king moved on. The court moved on. The records were filed away in a vault and forgotten. Mordecai went back to the gate. He kept showing up. He kept being faithful at his small post. The reward for saving the king's life seemed to evaporate into the same air it had been spoken into. I want you to feel that, because some of you have done something significant in the eyes of heaven that nobody on earth has rewarded you for. You did the right thing in a hard moment. You said the true sentence. You stayed when others left. You forgave when nobody asked you to. You made the costly choice, and then nothing happened. No applause, no invitation, no thank you. The records were filed away in a vault you cannot see. The world moved on, and you went back to the gate. You went back to the small post. You kept being faithful where no one had thanked you for being faithful. The vault was not empty. The records were not lost. They were waiting. Years later, the king could not sleep. He asked for the records to be read aloud. The reader happened to read the page about Mordecai. The king said, "What was done for this man?" And the answer came back, "Nothing. Nothing has been done for him." And the king started a chain of events that pulled Mordecai out of the gate and put him in the highest position in the court, second only to the king himself. The man who had been faithful in obscurity was elevated by a sleepless night that he had nothing to do with arranging. I arranged it. I put the insomnia on the king. I directed the reader to that page. I made sure the king asked the question. The whole sequence was mine. Hear what I am saying to you. The records of your hidden faithfulness are not lost. They are in a vault. The vault belongs to me. There will be a moment on a schedule I have already set where the vault is opened and what was done by you in obscurity becomes known. You do not have to manufacture that moment. You do not have to remind anyone of what you did. You do not have to leak the story to make sure people see. I will open the vault. I will make sure the reader reads the page. I will make sure the king asks the question. I will set up the elevation that will look, from the outside, like a sudden change of fortune, but is actually the answer to a long, quiet sequence of years where you kept showing up. Some of you are in the gate years right now. You are sitting at the post, nobody is watching. You are doing the work, nobody is counting. You are wondering if any of it is being seen. It is being seen. The vault is filling up. The records are being kept. And the night when the king cannot sleep is on the calendar, even if the calendar is not yours to see. Stay at the gate. Stay faithful at the post. The page will be read. The question will be asked. The elevation will come. I want to give you one more image before we finish. Picture a father standing at the edge of a field, watching his child walk toward him from a long way off. The child is tired. The child's clothes are dusty. The child is rehearsing a speech, trying to figure out what to say. The Father is not listening to the speech. The Father is already running. That is the story I told through a son I sent to a far country and brought home. The father ran. The father did not wait for the speech. The father did not want the apology. The father wanted the child in his arms. That is my posture toward you. That is the posture I have always had toward you. You have been walking home, sometimes without knowing you were walking home. You have been rehearsing speeches I was never going to hear because I was already running. I ran long ago. I ran before you knew I was running. I ran when you were still far off, still confused, still making your mistakes, and I have not stopped running. I do not get tired of running. The distance between us is a distance I keep closing. You are closer to me than you know, because I have been closing the gap from my side the whole time. Come into the embrace. You do not have to clean yourself up first. You do not have to have the right words. You do not have to explain the detour. You just have to let me hold you. Everything else I will handle. The clean robe, the ring on the finger, the shoes, the feast. I have all of that ready. I have been getting it ready for a long time. I admire the heart you carry. I will never stop admiring it. Not in this life, not in the next, not across the ages to come. You are mine. You are chosen. You are held. You are admired. Let that be the word you walk out with. Amen. If these words found a place in you that had been quiet for a long time, let them stay there. Do not rush to do something with them. Just let them live in you for a while. And if while you were listening, someone came to mind, someone who has been walking without hearing they are admired, you can send this their way. You might be the reason they finally hear it. Subscribe if you want to keep hearing from this voice. And leave a word in the comments if any of this reached you. I read them and I carry them when I pray over these messages. Walk in peace.